looking over some daylilies that Steve has moved over to the edge of our garden right now. We had those pine trees cut down and we need to make sure that our perennials have been protected well. So we've moved them into a little bit of a nursery bed, and this reminds me that we want to make sure you all are aware that now is the time to divide summer and fall blooming perennials. Now these daylilies are up about 6 inches, but when Steve moved them they were only about 3 inches high from the ground, and then he heeled them in and put mulch around them. This clump right here does need dividing, and as we've shown you before on Oklahoma Gardening, the easy way to do that with daylilies is to put 2 potato forks or pitchforks back to back and pry these apart. Now there are a lot of other perennials that you can be dividing this time of year. Chrysanthemums, liriope, hostas, to name a few. Also yarrow, and we have some right here that we dug up over where pine trees were, and with yarrow and sedums and other plants with a sprawling type habit, it's not real particular how you divide them. We just took a sharp spade and started digging around the edge. Now keep in mind when you do divide perennials not to get too stingy with the clump that you move to another location. If it's too small a clump, it'll take them a while to recover and they may not bloom for you this year. So make sure you have a nice generous clump, keep it moist, and days like this when it's cloudy and just about to rain is the perfect climate for moving perennials because they are just coming up and are very delicate. Make sure you water them the first few days after transplanting. Make sure that they are mulched and get off to a good start this season. So don't forget, this window right now is the time to move summer and fall blooming perennials. If it's iris or other plants, wait till about 6 weeks after they bloom to move them. Last fall, you may recall that we were strolling through our pine trees explaining why they were ailing. They'd suffered from years of soil compaction and overwatering, and they were rapidly declining. So we contacted OSU's physical plant because in considering removing the trees, all we had to do was look up to realize that it was a job that was beyond our capabilities. We have some pretty heavy-duty power lines running along the back side of our studio gardens, and so the physical plant electrical department came out and surveyed it and decided they needed to take those trees down safely for us, which was nice. But they spent a long time carefully removing the trunks, dropping those down. They ran the limbs and the cut up trunks through a chipper shredder. Fortunately, we'll be able to keep all those chippings and reuse them as mulch here on our property. And then they used a stump grinder. And if you have a tree removed, you may want to consider using a stump grinder on your property because you can go back and readily replant in the site where the stump was ground out. The other option is to leave a stump and put a planter on it and spend many, many years having it decay. It's up to you on that option. But the main thing we want to emphasize, if you have a major operation where you need to remove trees, is make sure that you first look around you to see if there are any power lines above you. Look at the plot or plat of your property and see if there are any buried lines, and make sure that you call your power company first and or your natural gas company before you start removing trunks or bringing in a stump grinder, just to make sure everything is safe first. We're going to miss those trees, but as you watch Oklahoma Gardening the next few weeks, you'll notice that we're going to be bringing in some new trees using a tree spade and trying to replace them with trees that are less prone to disease and more inclined to survive and succeed in soils where we have heavy traffic. So be on the lookout for that on Oklahoma Gardening the next few weeks.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. You can also find more recent videos on our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.